It was a chilly autumn evening in 1994 when a group of friends, all in their early 20s, decided to try something they'd talked about for a long time, using a Ouija board. The group consisted of 4, Maria, Stefan, Lise, and Tobias, all of whom shared a fascination with the paranormal. Maria had always been skeptical but intrigued by the idea, and that evening she gave in to the group's persuasion. They gathered in Stefan's basement, a space that already held a slightly ominous feel due to its dark walls and the dim light from a single bulb in the ceiling. They sat in a circle around the Ouija board. After reading the rules and urging each other to take it seriously, they placed their fingers on the planchette, the triangular piece intended to guide them to answers. Stefan, who was the most enthusiastic, began by asking, "Is there anyone who wants to speak with us?" At first, nothing happened, and they laughed nervously at the silence. But after a few minutes, the planchette began to move slowly towards yes. They exchanged wide-eyed glances, unsure if one of them was playing a prank. "What's your name?" Lisa asked cautiously. The planchette moved again, this time a bit faster, and spelled out the name David. They continued asking questions and learned that David was a 10-year-old boy that had drowned in a nearby lake many years ago. They felt a mix of excitement and unease, but eventually decided to end the session for the night. In the days that followed, Maria began to notice strange things happening in her apartment. Small objects would be moved, and at night she heard noises she couldn't explain. At first, she dismissed it as her imagination, but one night when she woke to find her radio turning on by itself, she started to feel genuinely frightened. She confided in the others about her experiences, and they agreed to meet up again, hoping to contact David and ask him to leave her alone. During their second session, they asked David if he was responsible for the disturbances in Maria's apartment. The planchette moved to yes. They politely asked him to stop, but the planchette began to spell the word sorry. A cold draft swept through the room, and Lisa began to cry without knowing why. They ended the session in a panic, agreeing never to use a Ouija board again. After that, the strange events in Maria's apartment ceased, but each of them was left with a lingering sense of unease. They had meddled with something beyond their understanding, and it left a dark memory etched into their minds. They never shared the story with others, but they knew they would never forget that night when they opened a door they couldn't close. This story is based on an experience shared on a Norwegian forum where a user wrote about their encounters with a Ouija board and the unforeseen consequences that followed.